say good afternoon to you all. Thank you for coming for the research conversation today. It's that time of the year when everybody's busy. So it's a really, really busy time. So we truly appreciate you taking out time from your busy spring semester to attend this research conversation. So today we have not just a colleague, but a good friend of mine will be presenting today, Dr. Yuliya Ardasheva. We've done some work together. I know that she's really, really top-notch. She does excellent work, and she will probably be one of the few in our college, and we do an excellent job with graduate students, but I would say Yuliya stands very tall in that respect. I mean, one of the few faculty who work extensively with graduate students and has published extensively, significantly with graduate students. And I mean, many times I've had to tell graduate students, just go to Yuliya, just don't worry. So Yuliya, if they've been coming to you, my fault. So pardon me for that, because she just has such a big heart for graduate students, and she's able to take them on and mentor them very well. So this is a really important research conversation for me also, to learn how Yuliya does this, and she does it very, very well. So Dr. Yuliya Ardasheva is an associate professor in multilingual learner education at WSU. Her research focuses on student individual differences, simultaneous language and academic development, and teacher multilingual learner preparation, beliefs, and practices. Yuliya has published her work in TESOL, Quarterly, Language Learning, and Review of Educational Research. Actually, I remember we both published with some graduate students in the Review of Educational Research, among other high-impact venues. She's the recipient of the 2022 Award for Distinguished Research on Teaching English to Speakers of Other Languages. She was the 2021 Mid-Career Awardee for Second Language Research, Special Interest Group of the American Educational Research Association, and the 2019 Faculty Excellence in Research Award for the College of Education here in WSU. Today, Dr. Ardasheva will present on leveraging the power of faculty graduate student collaborations. Specifically, she will discuss collaborations between faculty and graduate students, including a cross-departmental, cross-campus project on using case-based instruction to develop culturally responsive, sustaining mindsets and skill sets in future teachers and leaders. The conversation will also center on how to strategically engage generative collaborations with graduate and undergraduate students to conduct research and write for publications. Again, we are very fortunate to have such a great scholar here today as our speaker. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Yuliya Ardasheva this afternoon. Yuliya, over to you.
Thank you, Shola, for the introduction. Thank you, Laura, for organizing, and thank you for Yuliya and Eugenia for agreeing to be part of this. They both actually are graduate students who collaborated on the project on case-based instruction that Monroe, Sarah Newcomer, and I all are part of. So it's a good group of people, but since the focus is on graduate students, they will be the ones speaking. And in my experience, if there are any ways you collaborate with doctoral students as faculty, or we have a few students who are collaborating with faculty, we could use chat area to share maybe some experiences. In my personal experience, there are 5 ways that I have collaborated with students, or they have invited me to collaborate on their project. Of course, that's advising of students. It helps if you have common interests. That's when the work becomes collaborative. Then through coursework, either teaching my courses, and we find common interests with the students who may not be necessarily in the program that I am teaching. And or coursework students are asking for the data sets for their own coursework, and that's how the collaboration begins. Of course, funding and invited expertise. And the last one is probably a culminating point for the 4 previous points. If there are common interests with the students, the collaboration continues after they graduate. They invite some contributions to theory pieces, to literature review pieces, or to instrument development, what have you, as they develop their research agenda beyond the college years. As red line here is common interest, and that's why I'll start with my common interests and those of students. So one of my lines of research, as Shola mentioned, is individual differences. This interest started with me being a foreign language teacher back in Russia, in my hometown, Perm. And the bottom photo, you see me with flowers on the first day of school. That's a tradition. On the upper picture, you see me with my students from grade 4 to 11. We are traveling to Paris, Eiffel Tower. So the way one of my most productive collaborators, who was a graduate student, she graduated in 2017, I believe, Snowy. We have 9 articles and 2 book chapters together. So the way we came together is that she read 2 of my articles, 3 of my articles, 2 on instrument validation that used exploratory factor analysis, confirmatory factor analysis, and structural equationing. And here were our interests connected. So structural equation modeling that fascinated Snowy, and instrument development. Her area is English public speaking, which is an emergent educationally domain, but very few research exists in that area. So in order for her to do her research on self-efficacy, which is an individual example of individual difference, she needed first to develop her mirrors. And that's how it started. With Joy, she was a co-chair. She also had her separate line of research, so she was also contributing to Joy research. Very, very productive student. With data that she collected for the dissertation, for the instrument development, we were also able to ask a number of research questions, and everybody here knows how demanding data collection could be. If you can ask more research questions of a data set, that's always a plus. So she invited Bruce Austin at first to collaborate on a number of studies, such as bifactor and second order model comparisons, going back to her reevaluating her assessment she developed. And then that gradually moved on to collaborative projects with Dai, who's here, also involving structural equation modeling. So in that way, Snow is very proactive in seeking expertise across different areas of her interest, and that's how we got together. And I forgot to define what individual differences are. So in essence, in our field, it's considered to be one of the most important variables in what explains the difference in achievement. We all have individual differences, all have anxiety, all have motivation, all have self-efficacy, just we all vary in terms of degrees. And that's the interest in individual differences. Common interest, advising. Another line of research that I'm working on is simultaneous language and academic language development among multilingual learners. The way I got interested in this topic is when I moved to the States at the age of 27, I didn't speak English, and I went to a couple of English as a second language schools for adults. Here's my first Halloween. We got costumes on and celebrated the Halloween holiday, which I had no idea what it was. And then we wrote about it and so forth and so forth. But the most important part, everybody you see there did not speak English except for the instructor there at the table. And they needed English either for survival or for academic purposes, which was my purpose, academic purposes. I knew that I was going to go into the PhD program. And all of them had students in schools who needed that additional language course, not only for survival, but for advancing in mathematics, in science, and so forth and so forth. They needed it to succeed in academic subject areas. So that leads me to a number of examples of collaboration with graduate students on that topic. Honor Ramazan, he's actually educational psychology. His story is a little bit similar to mine. He started learning English at 25. He came to the States, to WSU, to take English language classes and gradually transitioned into credit-bearing coursework. And one of the first courses that he took was from me, that was Educational Psychology 505. And one of the assignments was to develop a research proposal. His was focused on PISA data. The following year, he brought a conference proposal that he developed with Bruce Austin that looked at PISA data. And because I was always interested in how multilingual learners deal and succeed on standardized assessment or large-scale assessments, we got connected. So he worked with PISA already. I had an interest in language minority students or multilinguals, and we invited expertise of Robert with self-concepts and Anik with achievements in mathematics. And that was our first project, which gradually led to DIE, leading another project on PISA and reading self-concepts and reading achievement. Everything leads to DIE ultimately. I feel like in my presentation. And also another student, Tao, from Language Literacy and Technology, got involved with that project. Hopefully we will go back. We have 2 more papers that we worked on that everybody got tired, you know, how publication works. You look for a journal, you work on the revisions. So we got a little bit tired, but hopefully we'll get back to the papers eventually. Another way, so that's coursework, common interest. Another way is data set. As I said, data collection is very time consuming. So now and then there was a project when I was developing curriculum every week for the teachers, for the students, assessment for every unit for 2 years. And that was pretty time demanding. And there was no time to do any analysis during implementation. A number of students needed data sets to analyze in classes that they were taking, either qualitative or quantitative. They just asked for data sets, and that's how they got involved. And that's a number of examples how this came to be. Not all of them are on language and academic development. The last example is focused on my next line of research, which is teacher preparation, beliefs, practices in supporting multilingual learners. And that's, of course, coming from my current work for 10 years as a teacher educator at WSU, and 3 years prior to that at University of Louisville, either as a teaching assistant or as an instructor. And here are students whom I taught for 4 semesters, 4 different classes. Last day together, they also gave me some flowers. So here the collaborative work with graduate students came from funding, short or long-term support. The first example is Department of Education grant, where some students got involved for the entirety of 4 years, actually 5 years. That would be Lindsay and Steve. They were program coordinators and research assistants. A number of people got involved for summer. For example, OEMC worked on a project or 1 summer paid from that grant. And we have some people who were hired for a year. Denisha Salinas was a research assistant on our campus here. And Eugenie did some work. That's, I'll talk about that later, how Eugenie got involved through what kind of finding. And here's the educational research example. This is an example of focus on individual differences, but that's a proud moment. Joey Scholl's student got involved. He got funded for 1 year through SPEED grant. And we ended up publishing in Review of Educational Research. And the example that Eugenie and Yuliya will be focusing on is case-based instruction, one of the project focused on teachers and teacher practices and belief. This whole line of research started with their faculty success grant that Dr. Carbonell led. That was a lab-based research. When we were comparing, Dr. Nikamer Sarah was part of that grant. We were comparing learning from cases versus learning from text in the lab settings. So Sarah and I got interested in how it would look like in the classroom. In 2019, we got Smith's Teaching and Learning Grant and developed 4 modules focused on literacy, focused on language, identity, assumptions, and family, and implemented 2 modules in Sarah class, 2 in mine, subsequently. So first, that was the development grant in 2019. So then a little bit of a pause due to COVID, and then faculty funding now with Dr. Sarah and Calderon and I, and Unru and Shannon got involved a little bit earlier. So that's the order in which people got involved. And now we are studying the efficacy of those modules. So OEMSC and Eugenie funded themselves to work on this project, and they will talk about it later on. And some examples of students who graduated, but still invite me now and then on their projects. And without further ado, OEMSC, please take it away.
Thank you, Yuliya, for that. Okay. So good afternoon, everyone. I'm excited to be part of this conversation. It's amazing working with Yuliya and other faculty in the College of Education. My name is Yuliya Soloniyo. You can call me Yemi preferably. I'm a first-year PhD student from Lagos, Nigeria, and prior to my PhD, I've earned my master's in early childhood education from the University of Lagos, Nigeria, and last spring, I earned my master's in educational psychology. My professional background includes experience as a classroom teacher from pre-K. In Nigeria, we call it early childhood program, till grade 6. And it also includes teacher training, curriculum development, quality assurance, which is also known as evaluation. So that takes me to the next slide. So over the past 3 years going, I came to WSU, came to the United States for my graduate studies in 2021. And I have been privileged to collaborate, work with diverse faculty members, amazing individuals. I have worked with I started with Dr. Carbonell on a project titled Embodied Cognition in Education. That project is still ongoing. And recently, I am also in another project with Dr. Danielson and the Center for Civic Engagement here on the Pullman campus. Evaluation is another major area which I am interested in. It's been something I want to do, something I am so keen about, research and evaluation. So in summer 2023, that's last summer, Dr. Ardasheva introduced me to a project across campus with about 4 campuses, and that is like an evaluation project. Of course, because whenever I'm with him in class, I took his class in multimedia learning and also on systematic courses. So of course, I have mentioned it was part of my committee for my master's. So he's aware that I am interested in evaluation. So when this project came up, he was able to call me. So I know that now, through that, I know that with faculty members, as graduate students, you should be able to let them know your interest, just like what Yuliya said earlier on, what you want to do, so that when opportunity arises, they know who to contact. So, and after completing that, then I said, oh, I'm done with Dr. Ardasheva with this work, because everyone knows that is keen on 100% excellent work. Then he called me again that, Yemi, there's another project. You have to be part of this project. I said, oh, I'm doing this again. So that was an amazing project with research experience for undergraduate. It's in collaboration with Dr. Presley Shelley from Voiland College of Engineering and Architecture here in Pullman campus. And that was an amazing evaluation project. I am still on that project. It's an NSF project, and it's going to end in 2025. So I will still be working with her this summer. So it's an ongoing project. I went for a conference in AEA conference last year, October, in Indianapolis. That is an American Evaluation Association conference. It's an annual conference. So I met this amazing team. They are called the SPEL Lab. It's an evaluation lab for STEM projects. So I joined them, and I've been working with them too on a project called Evaluate Project. So that is ongoing. And for today, we'll be talking about the Cultural Responsive Sustained Pedagogy projects with Yuliya and these amazing faculty members you're seeing on the screen. And that is ongoing. So I'll quickly jump on right it. So the title of this project is I Am Not Black. Educators are like, well, your problem isn't relevant. It's a case-based study. And that was my first time, going through a case-based project. It was a very, very excellent project. I want to do more about it. And, when we started, because it was my first time, Yuliya's tutoring was on point, because whenever I'm stuck, I'll just send an email. It's during the summer. And I'll quickly mention this, that in summer 2022, Dr. Carbonu, sent me to her to work with her over the summer. And I did a project on paraeducators' self-efficacy. And maybe not, I wouldn't know why she called me last year, a year after, to say, oh, Yemi, do you want to be part of this project? Maybe it could be that I did that one, the first project well with her, and she was able to call me again. So I'm on this project with her. It's an amazing project. And the studies, we looked at different issues on ground, and these issues are what a lot of immigrants are in the United States presently, and studies show that African immigrants, out of all the immigrants, is a growing student population. They have like the highest population so far through studies, articles read, and not just being part of it, they bring a lot of diverse experiences, learning experiences from Africa to their learning here in the United States. So we want to see if the identities are like a threat to what the identities of the other students in the class or what. So we use the case-based study for this project. We utilize a framework of culturally responsive and sustaining teaching to make meaning of teachers' candidate perspectives. What do they think regarding this? And it's all about the cultural and linguistic diversity, differences in individuals, just like what was earlier said, between African immigrants and African American students in the United States. We want to see the differences. We want to see what the teachers candidates feel about it. What do they think the differences mean, and does it have meaning, impact on students' outcome and discipline in the classroom? So because despite the fact that African immigrant population comprises as one of the fast growing population in the United States that we saw confirmed by Adance in 2015, we still want to use what teachers in training, what they feel it is. So I'll quickly move on. The purpose of the study was to examine social justice oriented, in this case-based teaching, drawing on equity in the framework. And the question that guided the project is that what CR, so when I say CRSP, I mean the cultural responsive sustaining pedagogy. What does CRSP orientation and skill sets of teacher candidates? So when I say TC means teachers candidate. They are already teaching, but they are also schooling on our WSU Tri-City campus. So how are they able to apply this framework, this theory, when analyzing dilemmas of racial conflict in a classroom? So, and with that, we are going to use a case-based study for this. The materials and participants. So for the participant, like I mentioned earlier, there are 23 teacher candidates in the WSC Tri-City campus in Yuliya's class. And from what you see on the screen, that is the what comprise of the made up of who they are, their background and the rest. So the case that we use is between an African American student and which is Warren, I mean, African American, and the Nigerian student who now lives in the United States, named Abiola. Is a case, is a dispute between these two, and the case is also about Miss Lee, who is also an immigrant social study middle school teacher who works with this student. And Miss Lee, by her practice, knows that when students come to class, he try to pair the new student with the former student, so that a kind of mentorship. We do that in the College of Education, why people mentor the new student coming in on how to pick us. So it's so people, it should be a normal thing, but there were a lot of issues around the case, and so this teacher candidates were just to analyze it. So example of the discussion prompt, what came up from analyzing the case was that, in your opinion, we used these questions to get this teacher to discuss this case. In your opinion, was it appropriate for Warren? Warren is an African American student, to assume that Nigerian students identifying them as Black was a sign that they thought of themselves better. So this case, if you maybe we send it to everyone later to read, but it's a case where this Warren and the mentor, supposedly mentor, think that all Nigerian students in the United States seems themselves as better than we that were Black. So and we also asked another question, that in this teacher's opinion, was it appropriate for another teacher, which comes up in that case, to state that I always try not to see the differences. You see, when educators try not to see the differences, some studies says that as a color blind. I don't want to see them as different. I want to see them as the same. So, so what do these teachers feel? And they gave a lot of from their own personal experiences as teachers in different classes, from their experiences growing up in the United States. So this are what they came up. So I'm just showing you this like a sample of what we use as prompts, or how we graded their analysis, their responses, and the CRS the rubric that we used was from Van Horman et al. 2023. I Van Horman actually was one of my mentors when I joined WSU, and is doing so well. So we use this is from him, and the domains has like 3 areas. Each of these area is student agency integration as 2. We have the culture, that's student culture and the role of culture in the analysis. We also have the multi-dimensional strategy use, like the political, the social, because at times it could be based on the policies in place. So teachers want to do more, but policies are like chains stating that you can't go beyond what it is stated by the district or by the state. So these are more what we used to, and the area is from 0 to 4. We have the beginning, which is 0, and the exemplifying, which is 4, which shows that this teacher is really know so much about the cultural responsive teaching and the strategies to use in class. So from our findings, we realize that there is highest input from participants, these teachers candidates, on cultural experiences, because a lot of them use their cultural experiences to analyze the case. They are not just based on the theory read, they also bring in their learning, their experiences as Mexicans, experiences as Asians, to analyze each of these cases. And we also have, like example, one of them says that they call everyone a Mexican man, irrespective of where are they from, because they feel that they look the same, they are the same. So someone also says that being dismissed by the teacher, just stay here. I mean, teachers don't want to see that these students are different, they are culturally different, they have different experiences, which might impact what they're learning in the classroom. So they want to see them as one. That just do what everyone does. Don't complain. Don't say anything. Just say, do what we ask you to do. That is another thing from the case. Not also identifying with labels given by others, like you are black, even when you are brown. So we also look at the findings also shows varying degrees of awareness and advocacy for sustaining culture in learning, social interaction, and classroom and school spaces. The teacher candidate shows a lot of most individual contributions um like are they developing or emerging. They are not on a very high by awareness of what it should be. So we need more advocacy. We need teachers to know themselves that these are what should be. So we should, that is what that shows. Then the last one we also note from the finding is the fact that the discussion moved a bit on several occasions to 3, if not 4. They showed example of this is while one participant assumed a lack of American experience is what affected Abiola of Black hate. Even when Abiola might not know so much about what Black hate is, they assumed that, oh, because you have not grown up in America for 20 years, for 10 years, so you should know. These are middle school students. There's no way, even if they are born in the United States, they will be in the United States up to 20 years. They are in middle school. And extreme racism, some of the students just came, they don't even understand what extreme racism is, as a reason for Abiola not to identify as Black. And other students brought forward other lived experiences, being a Nigerian native. He probably doesn't consider himself those ways in America. I mean, these teacher candidates are thinking that maybe Abiola is not considering himself like what it should be, like being Black, and considering himself being an American, and does not understand the struggle of the Blacks in the United States. And the last one we noted was on the global notion, which said that one of these teacher candidates states that it doesn't hold the same value to them as it does to Americans. You see that this is what the teacher feels, that Abiola does not hold the same value because they feel that since he's not accepting himself to being Black, it doesn't hold the value. So these are different perspectives to the conversation as you've seen it on this slide. So it's been amazing working on this project. I am so excited about it. Next steps with collaborating with different faculty has really helped me so far, and not just only faculty, even at the Center for Civic Engagement. It's been an amazing opportunity for my learning, going beyond the classroom. And as a teacher myself, I know the value of moving beyond the four walls of the classroom and experiencing it yourself. Like, I did work with Dr. Carbonell for a year on literature review when I've not even taken the class with Dr. Adeshokwe. So it works this way, and I will encourage a lot of other graduate students to, expand their scope and work more. The faculty are really ready to help us. The other time I walked to Dr. Odushola Adeshokwe's office and I said, oh, could you just give me a book? And, he gave it to me. I just returned it on Monday. So it works this way. They are ready to help us. And the next step for me now is that I'm going to be presenting at the coming AERA conference. I have 2 papers to present, round table presentation. That was my first time presenting, and I'm going to be presenting 2 papers. Also have a poster presentation at the WSC Research Showcase this March. There's 2 manuscripts in preparation just to submit it, and 3 submission to a new 3 new submissions. I did one last year, I presented, and I've submitted 2. The 3rd one, I'm working on it. I have 3 submissions to the AEA conference, the American Evaluation Association conference. That will be in Oregon this year, in October this year. So it's
Well,
been...
let me see. I apologize. Eugenia is also, there's only 12 minutes left. And I'm assuming that IE conference is not with this project, it's from
Yes,
the other
with
project that you're sharing.
collaboration, yeah, like I mentioned. So I want to appreciate the Dean for College of Education, Dr. Michael Trevisan. His support is enormous. The Associate Dean for Research and External Funding, College of Education, Dr. Olushola Adeshokwe. His help, his support, his consistently help has helped me this far. Associate Dean for Equity, Inclusion for Student Success and Retention, Dr. Amil Gumor. Thank you so much for your help, sir. And Associate Dean for Student Success, Voiland College of Engineering and Architecture, not in College of Education, but she's always ready to be of help. I thank every faculty member I've worked with, Dr. Danielson, Dr. Carbonell, Dr. Dai. You've all been amazing. Thank you, everyone. Thank you all for listening. Thank you so much. So I will stop to share so that I can give room for him.
Thank you. Eugenie, go. Hi, Shannon.
Can everyone see the screen? All right, I'll try my best to wrap it up in just 5 minutes so we have time for Q&A. Okay. Ooh,
Don't worry,
on?
most of the people present are part of the CBI project, so I do not anticipate questions. And if they want, they can attend your or all the EMC presentations
right.
about ARA if they want to
Because
learn
I have
more.
another
So
meeting
focus on
coming
yourself
right
and
up. So,
collaborative projects.
all right. So yeah. Hi everybody. Good afternoon. It's good to see you all. My name is Eugenie, and I'm a second-year PhD student in language literacy and technology. I'm originally from Ambon, the eastern side of Indonesia, and I have my master here from SIU, Southern Illinois University, under the sponsorship of Fulbright Scholarship, and I have my bachelor's degree from Universitas Patimura, located in Ambon. And I was an English language teacher, and I teach at a college level in Indonesia. And I was also an English instructor at the language center based in my university. So today I'm going to talk about collaborative work I've been doing with some of the faculty members, and especially with Yuliya, because she's my committee chair. So yeah, just a shout out. So far in my second year, I've been involved in a couple of collaborative projects. The first one is inclusivity in education with Dr. Tom Salisbury. I hope he's here, but yeah, that's fine. And also another one with XR technologies. So these two are actually derived from classroom because I took technology class with Dr. Egbert, and my research interest is also in technology. And for Dr. Salisbury, yeah, it was a project from the classroom, and we decided to continue, and we've been presenting the work in a couple of conferences so far. And then the last one that I'm going to talk about in a minute is culturally responsive sustaining pedagogy. This is I start working on this during summer last year under the funding from Hui Roger Fellowship. And then these are my collaborators. I work with Dr. Yuliya, Dr. Dai, Dr. Unu, Dr. Newcomer, and also Dr. Calderon. So I'm going to talk briefly about the work that I've been doing so far, and we're actually exploring pre-service teacher self-efficacy and competences. So the issue for that is that you know that today the number of culturally and linguistically diverse students in the state of Washington is increased. And just yesterday, I found out that Washington State is on the 20 top list for the most diverse state in the United States, which is amazing. And also, one of the reasons we should prepare and train pre-service teacher or teacher candidates for this demographic change. But study shows that school teachers and the staff, they're still unprepared with best practice to support these students. And so we come up with culturally responsive sustaining pedagogy framework with case-based instruction that Dr. Yuliya has talked about. And these are the research questions that we're trying to answer. So for this research, we have 36 teacher candidates enrolled in two teacher preparation courses. They are literacy focused courses and diversity focused courses. And the participants were between 18 to 13 years old. And then over 60% of them are non-white. To get the data, we use explanatory sequential methods design. So we have quantitative and qualitative data to have better understanding of students or teacher candidates' self-efficacy. And of course, we infuse case-based instruction in that. What's so interesting for us from the data is that white, non-traditional, in this case, we categorize age group. So non-traditional is those who are older than 24, and then those with multilingual courses endorsement, they reported higher self-efficacy for culturally responsive teaching, which is surprising because it's unlike the literature that we read, and in those literature, they mentioned that background characteristics are the most significant predictors for culturally responsive self-efficacy. But our study have a different finding, contribute to different findings to that. And for qualitative data, we classify into high and low from the quantitative strand. And what we found is that, well, low self-efficacy candidates, they tend to have lower ability in identifying and also provide solution to the cases provided. And overall, we didn't see any direct correspondence between their efficacy level and also their performance in identifying or solving issues in the class with case-based instruction. So that's all about what we have so far. And then our collaboration does not stop there because we have AERA presentation coming up in April, and we have paper and also poster, which I'm excited about. And then we have one poster presentation coming up next week for a WSU Research Showcase. And not only that, we have two manuscripts in progress. So hopefully we can get it published sooner. And with this, I also would like to express my gratitude and appreciation for the donors of Huey Roger and Dean's Excellent Graduate Fellowship, and to the Dean of College of Education, Dr. Mike, and Associate Dean, Dr. Sola, who is here, and also the faculty member who I have been working for the past semester. It's been a great opportunity to learn a lot. I learned about how to analyze the data. I learned about how to write academic paper for conference because each conference has different requirements. So yeah, this is a learning opportunity for me. And that was it from me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jenny. And
Oh,
Kathleen, I think you're the only person I hadn't said yes, hi yet. Hi.
All right. Thank you so very much, Yuliya. Thank you. We really certainly enjoyed the presentation. Thank you, Yemisi and Eugenie. I think we have time for probably one or two questions, quick ones.
Or just come to a presentation. OEMC is presenting too,
That's
and
a good
Eugenie is
one.
presenting too.
Yeah, that's so true. Any question? I mean, maybe one question. It's 2 minutes to one. I do have one in case nobody in the room has any question now. What would you say is one thing that fosters faculty-student productive collaborations?
I would say two: common interest and eagerness on the part of the student to learn. Like seeking expertise. I really, the reason I used Snowy as an example is whatever expertise she needed, she reached out to faculty. So she wanted to learn about exploratory factor analysis. She reached faculty. It's confirmatory factor. She would seek out the expertise she needed to progress very actively. And the team grew. So she started with me, and then she invited more people as she had more research questions. She invited more and more people to collaborate with her. Each bringing the skill, she would learn it and expand, learn it and expand.
That is
I think
terrific.
that's one of the driving forces what makes a great
That's great. That is very good. What are we've heard from the faculty side, what are from student side? What do you think? It's a key ingredient of virtuous productive collaboration with faculty. What would you graduate students say?
I would say that it's student interest is a lot of help. When you are interested to learn more, you are never tired of learning. And I must also commend the sense of belonging that the College of Education create, that makes us to be able to walk up to any door, knock it, being open onto us, and you are able to get whatever. At times, I just walked up to Dr. Dai, ask questions I do not understand. I shouldn't assume, I should always ask questions. Thank you.
Right. Great.
Um, if I can add,
Sure.
I would agree with the points that Dr. Yulia and also Yemi said, but from my point of view, willingness to learn is what drives me because there's still a lot out there that we still don't know. And another point is that open-minded. Just because I'm a graduate student doesn't really mean that I know everything or I've learned everything in classroom, but I also learn outside classroom. And this faculty has been really they communicate really well. They answer my question, even though I feel like it's stupid question, but I was like, I just I'm not embarrassed to ask because that's how we grow professionally and also personally.
Thank you so very much. And I really like to end on that note that the whole idea of being open-minded and making sure you are willing to learn, it doesn't stop just only with graduate students. I always tell my graduate students, I remind myself that the day we stop learning is the day we die. However, we take that and run with that. Okay, let's keep an open mind. If we don't understand, ask respectfully, and let's continue to do the great work that we are doing. Thank you so very much again for coming this afternoon, and hopefully we'll see you folks around the hall again. Thank you sometime.
Thank you for coming. Almost all of the Tri-Cities, if it weren't for a conference, there probably would have been full Tri-Cities campus.
I know. All right. Thanks a lot. Yeah. Okay. Now.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Yeah,
Great
bye.
job.
Yeah.